Welcome to the Psychic Mediumship College. Thank you for joining us here today to experience what it's like to learn with us. Hi, I'm Bronwyn. For over 15 years, I've dedicated myself to mastering psychic and mediumship, investing countless hours to deliver exceptional quality in my work. Each year, I perform over 400 readings and teach more than 200 students, helping them connect with their spiritual potential. My mission is to inspire transformation and empower authentic growth. With 10 years of experience in the corporate banking industry, recognized as the youngest senior manager in the field. Internationally certified as a master teacher by Lisa Williams and LWISSD in the USA. I am a certified international meditation teacher, holistic counselor, and holistic life coach, specializing in advanced metaphysics and parapsychology. Also a certified spiritual advisor with expertise in psychic, mediumship, and spiritual healing. Additionally, an international best-selling author of A Resilient Life. Welcome to the Nuances of Mediumship webinar. During this webinar, I'm going to demonstrate to you the skills that are required to enhance your connection, how you can understand your message from Spirit for yourself or for others. My name is Bronwyn Jane, and I work with people that want to develop their psychic senses and mediumship abilities, or even their healing gifts. People that struggle with lack of confidence, self-doubt, they may have blocks and they don't know how to move through them. Technical skills may be lacking or need fine-tuning. They may also need to have a stronger, more accurate connection to Spirit or spirit guides, even in a psychic space. So these people can then take these enhanced abilities and gifts to be able to help themselves by forming a connection with their loved ones in spirit and being able to communicate with them so they don't need to have readings. Or to be able to take those skills and put them into a professional or semi-professional environment where they can facilitate readings for others, allowing them to live with purpose, to be able to really actualize the reason why they exist. I'm going to tell you how the next 60 minutes or so is going to work. I'm going to cover the difference between psychic and mediumship, techniques to enhance your abilities, how to interpret messages from Spirit, and tips on clear, accurate connections. If you haven't already joined the Facebook group, do so. There you're going to get more connection, but also exercises and a community. So at the end of this webinar, join us there. I talk really fast and I'll do my best to be slow. I will also say so way too much. It's a language habit I have. I'm working on it just like everyone else. I've got things I need to work on. I also am direct. I'm going to ask you to think sometimes, to reflect, to dive a little bit deeper as we go through this webinar. And at the end of the webinar, I'm going to show you how to get more help if that's what you're feeling is the right time for you to do. Is that okay? That's how I show up in this webinar for you. I want you to feel who I am, the way I work, and how I teach. This is my opportunity to connect with you in this space. Get a pen and paper, get ready. Make sure that you don't have any distractions so you can be fully engaged as I share with you the knowledge that I've gathered over my time. At the end of this webinar, you'll have the opportunity to download a resource book. I'm going to encourage you to do that. It's my gift to you for sticking through the whole webinar and watching it right to the end. But before we get started, let's get ourselves in the right kind of energy that we need to be able to participate in this to the full extent that we want to. So I'm going to encourage you to put your feet flat on the ground. If you can't touch the ground, put them on whatever is touching the ground. So for example, if you're sitting on a stool, make sure that your feet are not dangling, floating in the air. Rest them on the little stool step. If you're on a bed, get yourself so you feel grounded in that space. And the bed's obviously touching the ground. So do that. I want you to make sure that your buttocks, right, is right locked into whatever you are resting on. So that could be the back of the chair, it might be a wall, it could be the bed, right? So that bowl of our pelvis is nice and secure, right? Feels comfortable. You're going to have your spine as straight as you can have it, factoring in any health conditions that might limit that. So you want to be comfortable. Do that. Head needs to be straight. Right? So the reason I'm running you through this is because of the flow of energy of what we're going to do. Now, I want you to take your awareness to your chest where your heart is. Physical heart is what I'm talking about. Even though heart chakra is in the similar space, I'm talking about physical heart. Now, imagine, and I use the word imagine intentionally. Imagine that you can breathe and pull air in here. So you're going to, as if you can breathe through here. You're going to pull the air up, like as if you're pulling it up sort of your spinal cord, up into your brain. So you're going to imagine that you are doing that and then taking the air through the top of your head, through your crown chakra, up 30 centimeters, which is through what's called the transpersonal point and beyond. Then you're going to go up there and you're going to pull energy back down, all the way down. You're going to breathe out, nice and normal. You're going to do it again, up, bring the energy down. This time you're going to bring it all the way down into your body, into your feet, into that space that you are connected to the floor. You're going to bring it right out your feet into the earth. So you're going to imagine, once again, that it has gone into the earth. You're going to pull up energy out of the earth, pulling it up, back into you. We're making a circuit. We're going to pull it in. We're going back up through our crown, through our transpersonal point, bringing it back down. So we've got a nice circuit. And then we're going to push that energy out. And we're going to do this. And as we are pushing it out, we are imagining, unless we can see, that our aura is getting pushed out. So we're going to do this, these breaths, and I'm going to walk you through this. So let's start. So we're going to breathe in. Again. Taking our awareness down through our body, remember. Ground, bringing energy up. Two more. Just into our head. Breathe out normally. One more. So we have a nice connectiveness there. And because we're in a space where we're going to be working in this space, we're going to call in our spirit guide to be here for us. So we're calling our spirit guide to be part of this session as we are on a learning journey through this webinar. You may notice an energetic shift, you may not, that is totally fine. So we now have ourselves set up for success. Before we really dive into the teaching component, set your intention. After all, without an intention, you do not know where you are going. What is your intention for watching this webinar? Think about it. Mine is to be of service, to share what I can with you in this window of time. What is your intention of watching this video? Where does it sit in your body? Why have you dedicated time to this? Connect into that intention. Feel it. Close your eyes. And allow that intention to permeate you as we now start our learning journey together. Let me ask you a question. What was the hardest part, or is the hardest part, of developing your mediumship gifts? I know for me, it was accurate information. When I was developing, my mediumship gifts, no one told me what I could expect. So, what was the expected outcome? No one told me why I had the experiences that I had. So, I couldn't understand the mechanics of how it worked. Uh, I wasn't even told how to read. It was an assumed that you would just show up and know what to do. Now, I've been connecting to spirits since I was 3 years old. That's very different to connecting with people that I know and love that are in my family, to showing up in a reading practice and being able to turn it on and off, to be able to understand it, to feel like I'm not making it up. It's a very different experience. I didn't know what I was getting correct or not. There was no framework for me to understand that. And it really felt like it was coming from my imagination. It's because I didn't understand the link between the energy, the neurology, and the physical body and the nervous system, how it's all part of the translation of energy. All I wanted when I was learning was a reliable, strong connection so I could trust it and with confidence relay messages. That's what I wanted. But I wasn't given any tools on how to do that. I was no exercises how to develop and strengthen my connection when I struggled. No understanding on how I was blocking it, what I was doing. There was no methodology. There was no systems on how to get certain information. So it didn't seem generic. There was no understanding of my part in the connection. I am part of the connection. My body and my brain is part of the process. Even my belief systems. I didn't even understand how my belief system and how I was raised was actually making the work harder. No teacher had actually even talked about it. As I said, I was a child medium. I trusted what I got as a child. But as an adult, thanks to society, thanks to belief systems, thanks on this is made up religious belief systems that I was raised in, I had a lot of challenges to be able to work through because I had a lot of voices in my head telling me that what I was doing was wrong, not accurate, you're making it up, there's no way you can do it. There was a lot of conversations. What I learned through my journey was how the mind, the body, and spirit work together to be able to form the connection and understand it. How an incorrect intention impacts an outcome. How quantum energy, your belief systems, your neurology, and spirit all go hand in hand. Everything that I learned over the 15, 16 years that I've learned and then put into practice, I've put into now a sequential order that I know allows people to understand their connection, develop their abilities exceptionally quickly, to take their mediumship from a space that feels hard, challenging, to simple, easy, and fun. After all, it's a soul-to-soul connection. It's our normal way of communicating. Let me share a little story with you. When I grew up, I thought everyone was like me. I thought everyone had imaginary friends. I thought everyone could hear and see things in the night, things that were in the darkness, that they could hear people talking, they could hear footsteps, they could hear their voice called out, they could hear doors opening and closing, they could hear chatter off in the distance. It sounded like it was in another room, that they could see things that in their peripheral vision, sometimes right in front of them, that they could see things when they were asleep or going to sleep, having dreams that felt so real that it was better than any movie. I thought everyone had this. I didn't realize that not everyone did. I thought that me knowing what was coming, whether it be for myself, for friends, or even things that I would see on the news later, thought that's just how it was as I grew up. Nowhere did I understand that my experiences were a little bit different. I thought people could smell perfume, smoke, when it was not really obvious where it was coming from. I thought that even the sensation of being touched or watched, that everyone just knew this. They knew what was coming. Think about that. What things that do you experience or have experienced that sound similar? And did you also, were you like me, did you also think that everyone was like that? Or did you have an awareness that you're a little bit different? I didn't have the awareness until people started making me realize that I was different. Until I was told to stop doing it. It scares people. You're a know-it-all. How do you know that? Someone must have told you. Until people started to project their fears and their belief system on me. Then I realized that what I could do was not the same as everyone else. It was a little bit different. So I want to share the difference with you about psychic and mediumship because it gets confusing. I know even when I was doing my master teacher training in America and my peers that were also studying along with me that had been in the industry for a long time, because you have to actually have been a working medium for a considerable amount of time before you can even undertake this study, that there was a debate around intuition, psychic, and mediumship and what it was and the definition of it. So psychic is the translation of vibrations that are in this reality. So this is information that's in someone's aura. It could be in their chakras. It's all in this reality. It's all in this world, right? It could also be via guides telling us information. A psychic will use their senses, see, hear, feel, know, smell, taste. So clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairsentience, clairgusto, so on, so on, so on. They will use those to be able to pinpoint a vibration and put it on a timeline. See, this is the difference between intuition and psychic. Intuition is the start of the process. Psychic is the next step along. And where psychic is, it's getting all the information and putting it on a timeline. So we either know, is it happening now? Has it happened in the past? Is it happening in the future? And then being really finite with the details. It's like reading a book on someone's life. That information just happens to be attached to the person in their energy field because every thought, every action, every intention that exists, going to exist, has existed, all exists. And so as a psychic, we access that. We access it and we find all the details out, and then we work out, as far as the timeline, where it sits. That's why it's like reading a book. Every piece of information that you are ever going to do, think, feel, experience is in your field. Kind of freaky, isn't it? And someone can access that when they are highly trained and be able to tell you what has happened and when it's happened and the details of it. It's the story of your life. That's what a psychic does. So when they're going into a predictive space, what they are doing is they're going into the intention. So it's your intention. You might not even be consciously aware of your intention yet, but it exists. Quantum science knows this to be true. So I'm not saying anything that is not backed in science when we come to energy. So in that space of psychic, it is about the client, their life, the things that impact their life. That's what psychic is. As I said, and it's finite, it's lots of detail on a timeline. It's not wish-washy. Wish-washy space is in the intuit space, that gut. feeling without it being truly defined on when something is going to happen or when it happened and the details of it. Mediumship is the connection with the other world. It is a bridge. And in the mediumship space that we predominantly focus on, it's the connection with someone that has passed, that is in spirit rather than physical form. It is the embodiment of the frequency. So mediumship, when we are experiencing true mediumship, it embodies the reader. Now, here's something that's really interesting that you might not know. A fabulous psychic can look like a medium. The client will never know. They may actually think they're the best medium they've ever had because all the things will be yes, 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 yes. Because when you reflect on someone that you know that's passed, if someone gave, it's all that energy of what you know about them because you've experienced them, you might have heard stories about them, is stored in your energy. And so a really good psychic will be able to pick that up because she'll be reading or he'll be reading your energy and it will look like they are doing mediumship. As a client, you're never going to know. But the reader will know if they are trained in mediumship and trained in psychic because they feel very different. Psychic is like reading a book, watching a movie. It's flatter, doesn't embody you. Mediumship embodies you. When you feel love from the spirit world, every single cell in the reader's body sparkles. It has a density to it. The energy feels more, it meshes with us, and that's why I use the word embody. When you feel the emotions, you feel them as if they're your own. In psychic, you will know the emotion. You might be able to talk about the emotion, but it's not going to embody you like it's your own. You will have a reference for it because maybe you've experienced it, but in mediumship, you feel it as if you're experiencing it yourself. In mediumship, we share what we are given. It's not our job to interpret. With a psychic, your job is to interpret symbols because it's very symbol based, psychic readings. Mediumship is literal. If spirit shows you a cup and saucer and a biscuit, they mean cup, saucer, biscuit. They don't mean having a snack. They mean, I want to talk about a cup and a saucer and a biscuit. If they show you a car, they want to talk about a car. It's not you're on some journey moving through the future, like we would go on a conversation when we are doing psychic. In mediumship, they are talking about a car, and the car looks blue. So it is literal. As a medium, our job is to give the information we get. We do not know the story of this person in spirit. We do not know the relationship with the client. Our job is to give what we get. We are the voice only. You are the voice for spirit. When we don't know the difference as a reader, you can slip into psychic, give a really accurate reading, but it's not mediumship. So you're not being authentic. You need to understand and know how it feels different. Have the techniques so you do not slip into a psychic reading, so you stay ethical. Understand how to enhance your connection so the spirit and you are locked. So you don't drop them if the client is sharing something. To understand when your information is inaccurate, how you are adding your viewpoint on it, how you're doing disingenuous messages. They're not true to the character or personality of the person in spirit. That you've made them so healing that they don't even sound authentic. You can also connect to the wrong spirit when you're not trained properly, bringing through what feels like an easier connection, not the one that the client wants. You can get any spirit that the client has a connection to. They always show up. You're going to connect when you're untrained or ill-trained to those that feel easy for you, that are comfortable for you, but may not be the one that the client wants. So training is critical. Doesn't matter how many books you read, doesn't matter how many YouTubes you watch. With mediumship, it's about the doing, the experience to understand the embodiment of it. It's about understanding how to translate the energy accurately. When you know how it works, you know how it feels, you'll always be able to get a connection. You can always get the spirit that the client wants. You are able to bring through accurate, genuine messages that resonate for the spirit's personality and the relationship with the client. They will be healing because they are authentic and real. You'll be able to clearly identify who you have in spirit. I have mum. She passed this way. She looks like this. She has this behavior, this habit. She did this on a Sunday. These are the things that are clear, accurate information. You will learn how to, when you've got a great understanding of mediumship, the correct way to deliver information. So it's really easy for the person that is listening to be able to understand who you've got. There is a right way and a wrong way to do this so the client can maneuver through the reading with ease and actually make your job easier. You're also going to know how, when you've trained properly, how to be able to hold a connection with spirit for 40, 60, 90 minutes and not be tired. To be able to then connect into multiple spirits. The longest connection I've held is 4 hours and not be tired. To be able to bring through accurate information and be in flow. Think about this. If you could connect to spirit and you could communicate with them easily, you knew who it was, you trusted it, the information that they shared was accurate every time, and you could do this whenever you wanted to, how would that change things for you? Whether it's for yourself and your own connection, or that you want this connection to be able to help others. What would shift within your world if you knew how to do that every single time? When we have a great connection with spirit, magic can really happen. So let me share a couple of stories that, as someone that's done 2,500 readings, give or take, right, it takes a lot for me to be impressed by a connection. But sometimes it happens. So I remember being in this reading. I was working with an adult daughter, and her father was the spirit that we were communicating with. We'd been in the connection for quite some time. We'd gone through the whole process of identifying who he was, how he died, how long had been passed, memories. We were well and truly in the process. And I asked him, how do you let your family know that you're around? Because after all, mediumship for me is to demonstrate that the soul is eternal and they're still part of our lives. They're just not in physical form. And he got his finger and he showed me a toilet, the top of a toilet. Oh, did you just notice what happened? I digressed. Spirit's with us. If you didn't see that, rewind the video and watch it again. Spirit's with us as I'm talking about this story. I did not make that up, just so you know. We caught that on this video. And so he shows me the top of the toilet and the button, and he gets his finger and he's just doing this. He's pushing the toilet button. And I said to him, surely you're not doing that. That's annoying. That would be annoying. Anyway, he's like, yeah, I'm doing this. So I said to his daughter, fingers crossed, I'm like, oh, this is so weird. Uh, like I was kind of a bit nervous to say it. And I said, Dad tells me he's flushing the toilet. That's how you know he's around. She started to laugh. She said, yesterday I was at work and mum was babysitting her young preschool aged children. And mum rang her at work and said to her, I don't know what's going on. The toilet seems like it's broken. It keeps flushing. It keeps flushing. That warmed my heart. The daughter was so excited to go and tell her mother that her father had been annoying her. He then continued to tell me that he liked to tease his wife when he was here. And so doing that particular activity was his version of still teasing her and letting her know that he was around and that he was still the same guy he always was. Brilliant. In a similar tone, I had another reading that also stands out on that. And this was, we had a lady here and her husband or ex-husband was in spirit. They had young children together and he had transitioned himself sadly. So this reading had a lot of emotion in it. She was angry, she had cried, she had laughed. We'd been on the roller coaster of emotion over the 45 minutes. Once again, I got to that point in time and I said to him, what do you do to let your family know you're around? And she'd actually specifically asked me that question because of her young boys. They were struggling to not have their dad. And she said, the boys really want to know, is dad around? How will they know that dad's around? And so I asked the question and he showed me a bird and this small bird and he showed me a window. And it was a kitchen window, so I could see the sink and the tap. And the bird was coming up to the window and it was with its beak tapping on the window. And he showed this and then he put himself right behind her. So he created an image of her. Then he put himself right behind her. And in her ear, he said, boo. Once again, I'm like, oh, I've got to say this. But I did. So I described it all to her. And I said what he did. Then he goes behind you. And then he just leans in and goes, boo. And she started laughing and cursing at the same time. And she said, of course he would. He knows I'm terrified of birds. And because he'd indicated that he was one of those guys that did like to give her a hard time, that's why they were no longer married. It was one of those magical moments. So being able to do mediumship to its highest degree is so profound, not only for the client, because they got those connections, but also for the reader to see the magic that there is. So how do we enhance our connection? How do we do that? I'm going to share a document on the screen. We're going to talk through some of the simple ways that you can enhance your connection. So I just pull it up so we can see it. There we go. Let me just get myself organized there. All right, so on the screen, you'll be able to see where it says techniques to enhance your mediumship abilities. So we're going to run through this quite quickly. So one of the ways that you can enhance your connection, and you're going to have access to this booklet, it's going to be part of your downloadable information, so don't worry about that. So grounding and protection. Grounding is really important for enhancing connection. If you're not grounded, you're not going to be able to have a really strong connection as you go through this process. Also using psychometry. Psychometry is where you can hold the object that was once someone else's, and for example, like a ring, and it will store the energy of the person that used to own it. It's almost like it stores it very similar to how trees store information of what they've witnessed. It's the same with personal items, particularly anything made of metal. But anything that's been touched a lot by an individual will store, and you'll be able to read it just like you're reading a timeline, reading a book. The other way to really enhance your mediumship abilities, and this is where we start, and it's why I recommend that everyone also has undertaken intense psychic training, that your psychic senses, see, hear, feel, know, smell, taste, all those are activated, because that's the way you're going to process the information. The way you process psychic and information is the same. It just comes from different sources, but the processing capabilities and the toolbox is the same. So you need to make sure that your clairvoyance is strong, that your clairsentient is strong, that your clairgusto, your clairaudience, uh, clairalliance, all these are activated and working to help in this space. If you've only got one or two, you can still connect to spirit. It's just going to be a little bit harder, or there'll be some information that will just take you a little bit longer to be able to translate. Other ways to be able to enhance your abilities is to look at your mind, a clear mind. How often are we distracted, preoccupied? Phones, swipe, swipe. It's designed to distract us and change the way that our brain works. For mediumship, you need to be able to hold a connection. You need to be able to focus, and that focus is for the duration of the reading. So anywhere from 30 minutes to 90. You definitely don't want to do 4 hours like I have, but anywhere in that space, you have to be able to focus and not be distracted. So a clear mind is going to help you in that space. The other thing is doing clairvoyant practices where you are really focusing on colors, symbols, to be able to fine tune, be able to hold a visualization that spirit may give you. Understanding spirit language, how they actually work and what they are sharing with you, is an important process in regards to mediumship development. Mediumship tools, some mediums do use tools, tarot and crystals, to help develop. You don't use them in a reading. You should never use a tool in a mediumship reading. You do not need it. You also don't need to use your guide in a mediumship reading. If you're using anything like that, you're actually not doing mediumship. It sits more in the psychic or intuitive space. But in a development space, you can definitely use tools to help you develop trust in your abilities, because it is about building trust and working out how you're enhancing your psychic senses. So the tools are for that space, not for the mediumship as such, but you have to get the senses nice and strong, and then the mediumship, you can move into that space, but use them there. But you do not use them in a reading of mediumship. If you are, as I said, you're not doing a mediumship reading. It's also building rapport with spirit. You have to make friends with them. You're having a conversation with them, getting to know them. This is going to allow you to get really specific information from them. So it is about making friends. If you are scared of spirit or scared of connecting to a particular type of person, it will impact your connection. If you are scared of seeing spirit, you never will. If you have a lot of restrictions around how you have to see them, it's creating a block. If you are scared of hearing bumps in the night, voices, then it's going to impact your ability to be able to hear spirit. You need to look at your fears that you have in this space, because that is creating a block. You need to develop emotional awareness. This is a deep sense of all the emotions, joy, grief, and everything in between, so you can convey accurate messages. The way that you communicate with spirit is going to run through your filters, your belief systems that you have been given from whoever raised you. They could hinder you or enhance you in this space based on how emotionally intelligent and self-actualized you are. That is a journey that you undertake in a spiritual path. So the more that you do that inner work, the better it will be for your connection. There's a direct correlation between inner work and enhanced skills. Those that don't want to face their shadow will limit their ability to grow in this space. Those that don't understand the neurology of their what's happening in their brain or the psychology of themselves, they will not understand where they need to move through blocks. So this is a multifaceted space and not just technical skill space. And most people don't talk about it. And if they do, they truly don't understand it. Because there are a few people talking about belief systems and blocks, but they truly, what I've seen, don't understand the depth of the neurology and psychology, nervous system links, everything that's involved, which nervous system is triggered, associated with which psychic sense, breaking it down to that degree. Meditation and relaxation is another key component to developing your gifts. It's about creating space for spirit, calming your mind. Where you can practice with others is critical because, as I said, mediumship is an embodiment process. You have to feel what is going on to be able to enhance your skills. Deep compassion is critical. Releasement of judgment. So once again, these are things that you, as far as your personal development space, that you would need to work on. But the more compassion you can hold and the less you can judge, the better you are in the reading space. People ask me all the time, and it's like, work on that and everything falls into place. And we've already talked about the removal of your beliefs, limiting beliefs, looking at that, I'm not good enough, this is impossible, I can't do this. What are you saying to yourself? Because that is what you are creating a block around. So understanding what that is. Maintaining clear energy. We pick up energy, debris everywhere. If you go buy the groceries, connect with someone, it's like this sticky little fingerprints. Imagine like a toddler that's just had a lolly, sticky little fingerprints all over your field. You need to clear your energy frequently. You need to reset your nervous system, reset your vagus nerve, clear your energy. Then the other thing, because this is a mind, body, spirit connection, how you look after your body is also critical. This is sleep well, this is eating properly, this is hydrating, this is allowing you to have emotional clarity, mental clarity. Overall, your vibration will be higher if you look after your body because the energy goes through your body. They are the stepping stones to enhancing your connection. Understanding Spirit's message. Why are they here? What do they want to share? How is it going to help the client? Why does the client need to know that? These are all valid questions to ask. If Spirit shows up, they're not just showing up because they've got nothing else to do. They're showing up because they have access to wisdom now that they didn't have access to when they were here. And they want to be able to share that wisdom to help those that are here still navigating life to be able to make it a little bit easier. That's why they come. They also come to talk about what they've learnt since transitioning about their life and if they had a do-over, what it would look like or how they would need to acknowledge things that they experienced when they were here. They do that because they know that there is wisdom and learning. There's that almost like hindsight that they now have, that if they can pass that on, it's going to help their daughter, their wife, their child, whomever is the client, move through their life. But here's the thing. Messages can come in all different forms. Traditionally, yes, it could be a message of love and support. Other times it's that I learnt this. I see you repeating a behavior that I had and apply what I now know, and life will be easier. So it's got that real wisdom vibe. Sometimes the messages are, I see this happening now. I know you've done this thing, whether it be honouring them since they're past or even some achievement, birth, marriage. They're messages of knowing I'm still there. Messages come in all types of forms, from really big, profound things that were never said that they now can say, to small things in regards to, I witnessed you buy that jumper, and you know I'd have opinion about that if I was with you. And this is my opinion. But know that I walk with you for even the small moments, not just the big ones. I remember having a reading, and I had parents as my clients. And a young boy came in. He was 12 when he passed. And he came in swinging shoes, sports shoes. And as soon as I mentioned that, his father started to cry. He then told me about his passing. But in that, he also shared exactly what happened. And in that, he was taking responsibility for why he passed, freeing his father from the guilt that he had that he was responsible for this tragic event where his shoes got caught under a wheel. Dad took responsibility for that. But this young fellow was sharing that his laces were undone, and he knew at 12 that they should have been done up. But he didn't. He didn't put his shoes on properly. And he shared that. He continued to share how he knew what his mother had been doing for him, the art installations that had been built around the town where he lived, demonstrating his love of this particular art, the art that his sister was now making for him to keep him still alive, and that the music that he had written was now being played and enjoyed by hundreds of people, demonstrating that he is still in their world. He knows what's going on since he passed. Messages come in all forms. It's not for us to discern as the reader what is a healing message. We don't know, because we don't know the relationship between the spirit and the client. We don't know the life of the spirit. We don't know the story initially until they start sharing with us. So who are we to determine what is healing or not? Something so simple can be healing. Our job is to give what we get, to say exactly what we're experiencing, how we're experiencing it, what spirit is showing us, how they're telling us the information or sharing it in whatever way they're sharing it, to not make it into something more than what it is, to say exactly what it is. Our job is to have a conversation, to go backwards and forwards and ask spirit for more information if we don't understand, to get the pieces of the puzzle, because after all, this is like playing charades. In charades, just like in mediumship, someone is getting information and they are doing something. Yes, sometimes it's drawing it out, acting it out. They are doing something for the other person to work out exactly what is being said. That's what mediumship is. We're getting information from spirit. We are saying it. We might be acting out. We might be moving. We're describing in some way so the client can understand what spirit is sharing. Your job is not to make it into a big wow moment. Don't judge yourself based on what you see on an edited show of mediumship, because it doesn't work that way. Mediumship is being the voice. You give what you get. The client knows their relationship with spirit, they know the story of spirit. They are the ones that are going to put it together to remember. Your words are to trigger their memories based on how well you say this. It's not to make it into a story. You are giving pieces of a puzzle. The puzzle is, when put together, creates a story, but pieces of the puzzle. How many pieces you need to get depends on the story. It also depends on how well you're triggering the memory for the client based on which pieces you are expressing. Your job is not to understand it. If you do, great, but that's not your job. It's not to interpret it. It happens in a psychic reading. In a mediumship reading, it's give what you get, exactly how you get it. And if the client doesn't understand, you go back and you get another piece of the puzzle and you give that. And you get another piece if you need to, and you give that until the client knows what you are talking about. You're not to ask questions of the client. You're to ask questions of spirit. It's a conversation. You are getting to know spirit. That's the most amazing thing. How many different people in spirit do you get to meet in mediumship? So many, hundreds of thousands, if you're lucky enough. It is this conversation. Your job is to use your body, your voice, what you have available to help the client know that spirit is still here and bring them back to life to the best of your ability while maintaining the authenticity of their character, of their personality, of their life. Not shifting and changing it, not making it more, not making it less, being true to it. So the message is the pieces of the puzzle that really lands with the client. So how do you impact this? What are you doing that's making this harder or less concise? This is where you're running it through your filters, your belief system, and you're making it into a story that is not necessarily based on whatever you have experienced. It might not be the same as spirit. So this is where you're going to make mistakes, where you put it through your filter and you are interpreting it. Don't interpret in mediumship. If spirit shows you a red tractor, you say you've got a red tractor. You might have no idea how that relates because you mightn't. He or she might have just shown you a red tractor. You go back to spirit and you ask them, why this? Why a red tractor? Why is it important? Why does the client need to remember a red tractor? Whatever question comes up for you, you ask it of spirit. And whatever the answer is, you give that to the client. They're showing me a red tractor. They tell me it's important because they had one and they used to drive it at night rather than put you to bed. You go back to spirit and go, why was that important? In that hindsight wisdom and that reflection of your life, why are you bringing that up? And they're going to tell you whatever the reason, maybe because if they could do it over, they wouldn't plow the paddock at night. They wouldn't work that hard so they could have more time with their child. They're going to tell you whatever their truth is. But you don't ask the client. The client is there to verify only. And in that verification, they may share a little bit about the story. They may not. It's totally up to them. But your job is to give what you get and not interpret it. When you interpret it, you will get it wrong because it's going to run through your filters and your life is very different to the client. And even if there are similarities, it's not going to be exactly the same. And if you think it is, you're going to project in a reading and you're going to get it wrong. I hindered my connection a few different ways when I was developing. One of the ways that I hindered my connection is I allowed the belief systems that were given to me through religion and society to be my filters. I had to work on that. As a child, my mother told me to stop talking to spirit. I couldn't stop having a connection, but what happened was I stopped sharing. I doubted what I got. It made me feel like what I was experiencing was wrong. It made me think that I was wrong and scary as a 7-year-old child, that who I was scared my family, that people that should love me were terrified of me based on the fact that I could see my grandfather. I tried to analyze what I was experiencing. It's an impossible thing to do to a point because you can't analyze something your brain doesn't have a point of reference of. How can you see something that your eyes can't see? How can you hear something that your ears naturally don't have the frequency to be able to hear? That your body can process emotions or feelings that aren't yours, aches and pains that you've never had. Analyzing that actually creates a block. We need to get to the point of acceptance, trust. And fears from childhood create blocks. The boogeyman under the bed, in the cupboard. Being told that imaginary friends aren't real. So therefore, anything I experience as an adult, an adult medium, my field is going to tell me it's not real because the imaginary friends that I had as a kid, I was told weren't real. So now that I'm seeing spirit within me, the block that I would have would be that this isn't real because it's the same as my imaginary friends. And I've been told when I was younger, when those belief systems were being embedded in me, that this wasn't real. I had to undo that. I had to also let go of judgment of myself. I had been judged when I was 7 years old for this experience. And so I had judged myself as I grew based on those belief systems that were given to me. So I had to release judgment of myself, get to a place of acceptance, owning all my faults, all of them, knowing that that is the actual magic that makes me me. The fact that sometimes I don't pronounce my words properly, or I might speak too quickly. I say so way too much. I had to let go of that and just say, that's me. That's okay. It's exactly how I'm supposed to be. Because if I was meant to be any different, I would be. So it's acceptance of me. And that allowed me to move through another block. When I understood also, where is spirit? What is it? Where are they? Understanding the impact of my nervous system in this process also meant that I could connect better. When I understood that when I am using my clairvoyance, which part of my nervous system and brain are actually working. I'm an analytical person. I needed to understand the mechanics of it. I needed to understand the unconscious mind and how it plays a role in this, how the brain waves that I have, how they alter, change the connection and where I connect to, and how to change them. It normally happens when we're asleep, but how do I do it when I'm awake? What's my process for shifting through those wavelengths to know where I need to be within those different brain waves? If I've gone too far, what's going to happen? And if I haven't gone far enough, what's going to happen as far as in the changing of states? How to do that when I'm awake. These were all things that I've had to learn along my journey as I've been developing my skills. It's taken me a very long time, but the results are significant. When I've understood this, I understand how to connect to who I want to connect to, that I can control my connection. I can turn it on and off, which means that I can live a normal life and I have boundaries with spirit. They're no longer coming and bothering me at night when I'm trying to sleep, when I'm driving the car, all the things. That I can function how I need to, but it's as if I can amplify, turn the volume up when I need to read, turn it down when I don't need to. I have control. It means that the information that I get, because I know how to translate it, is accurate. It's authentic for the spirit. It makes sense for the client. That it's personal and specific. Things that are not written down. People love to get a name. Like, what's the name of spirit? They love that. But if it's written down on social media or somewhere else and the internet can find it, what's the value in it? Because there are some people out there, sadly, that are readers that will look people up prior to a reading. So some of this information that was really showstopper information before we had the internet and AI doesn't have the value that it used to have because it can be looked up. So the value sits in the things that are not written down, the things that are those memories about like someone's fear about a bird. It's not written down. No one's going to post that on socials. Those things, those moments are the amazing moments. But the best part of mediumship is when you say something to a client and they have no idea what you're talking about. You know that nowhere are you reading their energy, so you're not slipped into a psychic space. They just don't know. They have to go and confirm with someone else. When that happens, without a doubt, you know you've been in a mediumship space because the person, the client, couldn't verify it. They had to go and check with someone else. If they couldn't verify it, it means they've never experienced it or heard about it, so it's not in their field. So we never fear a no as a medium. We actually seek it. We actually chase it because it tells us where there's no, when we're projecting. And it also allows us for wow moments. So we never fear a no. Think about where your fear sits in a mediumship reading. Your fears are opportunities. They're opportunities for growth. They're opportunities for wow. Don't let fear hold you back in a mediumship connection. Mediumship, when we connect to spirit, they don't have the frequencies that we have here in emotions. They don't have any low frequencies available to them. Fear, jealousy, things like that. They remember having them, but they don't hold them anymore. They only have the higher frequencies, this love, joy. It's like a mix of it. That's all they have access to. They don't have the others because they don't have a body. So they can't process those emotions. So think about when you fear fear, when you see fear, when you feel it, how it's creating a block for you. To touch the spirit world, to be enmeshed with it is the gift. The gift is not in what we do. The gift is not in the connection. The gift is not in being accurate. It's not in seeing spirit. It's not in hearing spirit. That's not a gift. And so when people say you're gifted to me, I'm like, no, I'm not gifted. It's not a gift. The gift is when I get to connect to spirit and feel the spirit world. The gift sits in the experience of doing it, not what I'm doing, that I get to do it. That's the gift. That I get to mesh with it and allow them to embody the emotions. There's no human words to truly describe what that feels like. It's profound, that's why we keep going back for it. But the gift is in the connection. We all want accurate information when connecting to spirit, but how do you get that? There are really specific techniques in doing that. It is about going back and asking spirit of more information, as I said, to put a puzzle together. It's not about asking the client. Imagine that you're peeling back an onion piece by piece to be able to unravel a story. It's asking spirit questions, not sitting there waiting for them to just share things with you. It's like torture sometimes if you're just waiting for them to give you something. It's slow, it's cumbersome, and it takes forever. So you have to get really curious with spirit to know the kind of questions that you have to ask and the ideal questions to allow them to share what they want to share in the way that they want to share it. So really fabulous questions are the way to get spirit to open up and really give them the story of them. Also, client validation, knowing how to tell your client how to validate, when to validate, and then making sure that you do that in the right times, not too soon, not too late, that there's a frequency that is perfect for allowing this deep dive into this communication to occur. But your client is critical. They are the difference between a great reading and a less than great reading. If only they knew they were the reason why they had the experience that they had, that it's actually nothing to do with the dead person and very little to do with the medium. It's all about them. How they show up, whether they make the medium feel safe or not. Because if a medium doesn't feel safe, their reading is not going to be of a high degree of accuracy. If the client doesn't make the medium feel safe, we're not going to get details. We're not going to get a thorough, heartfelt message. If only they knew. If only they knew. It's also about red teaming yourself. If you've got a piece of information and you check in with yourself, have I actually put my slant on this? Have I ran it through my belief system and that is now impacting what I'm picking up? Have I slipped out of being neutral? Because as readers, we need to be neutral, not to have any expectations on what something should be, how it should sound, what it should look like. Nothing. Your job is to be curious. You're curious because you're getting to know this soul. So red team yourself when you are bringing through information. Did I change it? Did I put it through my belief system? Have I put my slant on it? Am I projecting in this reading in any way? I've shared a lot with you in this webinar from all the common ways that mediumship enhancement occurs, what's required to obtain really accurate information, the difference between a psychic reading and a mediumship reading, and how a psychic can look like a medium, and also how only a really highly trained medium will know the difference because they know how it feels when it's embodied. I teach hundreds of people every year how to enhance their mediumship skills, how to remove their blocks, deepen their connection, and be proficient in getting this information from the spirit world, bringing through their wisdom. Now, it took me over 15 years to hone these skills, hours and hours of practice and training. It's the slow way of doing it. But what I did was I learned how to do it fast. I knew the sequence of the information and how to be taught that so it can be integrated properly. I learned through old methods, primitive, without an awareness of the connection between the quantum, the physical, the neurological, the nervous system, all the components of the body, how it works, components of the brain, and the energy. I learned also in regards to where spirit is and then how that factors into our connection. Understanding quantum energy and how that applies in mediumship. As I said, over 15 years I've been doing this. But what it has meant is that I've now got a system that means it doesn't have to take you 15 years to know how to bring through accurate, clear, and concise messages from spirit to identify spirit. So without a doubt, whoever you're working with knows that you have the person that you say you have. Because remembering, they can't see like you can, they can't hear, and they have to trust you. So as I said to you earlier, I was going to promise to tell you how to get more information, how to be able to get your readings, your connection to the level that is optimized for you. The information I'm going to share with you is not for everyone. I know that to be true based on the amount of people that I engage with. So if you like to learn in a certain way, if you like to learn in a structured educational way with information that is written, there might be videos, there's audios, there's meditations, workbooks, handouts. If you like that type of structured education, then this will be for you. But if you don't, then it won't be for you. If you like to have a support of a community that is on the same type of journey as you, that want everyone to succeed, then this is for you. We have an enormous, fabulous social media, so through Facebook, community that support each other by helping volunteer with readings, answering questions of each other, lifting each other up. When I say it is a community, it truly is. It's not just a group of people that are linked on Facebook. The students that come to the college end up forming lifelong friendships through this practice of like-minded people that understand the journey of being a psychic, a medium, or a healer. The pure of heart that want to serve, to help others, including their peers, not just strangers in a professional sense. This is what our community looks like. If you like grounded, structured education with support, then this is going to be for you. Based on my journey, based on everything that I've learned, I took all that and I created the course called The Eternal Soul. It's a certificate course, and it will take you through the foundations of mediumship, understanding how to enhance your connection, making it really authentic, getting really accurate information, how to do it quickly so it doesn't take you a decade and a half like it took me, how to identify spirit, how to work with your client, how to bring through unique messages and heartfelt messages and memories that are not generic. that are true for the relationship between the client and spirit. We're going to tell you what's in the course. So hang in there, be there just for a little bit longer. So this is the Eternal Soul course. I'm very proud of this course because I know, not because I've done it, not because I've made it, but because of the lives that I've seen that it changes. As I said, I take hundreds of people a year through this. It is structured with 8 modules. You can study this either online by yourself, or you can join group coaching, or you can even be mentored personally by me. So there are a few different ways that you can undertake this course. The online content is the same for everyone, no matter what kind of support you choose. So it has 20 tutorial videos, guided meditations, practical exercises, workbooks, handouts, little quizzes to double check that you understand what you've just read. It's in depth. There is nothing else like this around. I know that because I have spent 15 plus years learning. In our first module, we undertake the foundations of mediumship, and there is a prequel before the first module that covers off the foundations of the history of mediumship and grief. But when we come into our first module, we're going into healthy and unhealthy connections. We're looking at the pitfalls of mediumship, how to connect, and organizing even how spirit comes in. So you clearly know where is spirit, where's your guides, where are those people that we connect into that no longer are in the process of transitioning or they're ill. We can connect into where our psychic space is. We set everything up for success to make it easy for us. We go through connectivity. We then also dive into our next module, diving deep into the differences between psychic and mediumship, the blocks that we're going to encounter, so how to maneuver through those, how to really unpack in an authentic way spirit's personality, handling multiple spirits. Like if everyone turns up at the same time, how do we get into that space? Who has trouble with surrender? Right? Me, for sure. What that looks like to fully surrender and how to get yourself to that space. The structure of a mediumship reading. There is a particular structure that serves spirit and serves the client, and to optimize that structure to make it easier for you in the long run. Because if it's easy for the client, it's going to be easy for you, remembering that the client impacts the reading. The client impacts the reading. In our third module, this is all about different tools that we can use for connection. So what type of tools will enhance our connection? How to get us to a space where we actually don't need anything, where we can really enhance our vision, for example, without needing any tools, eyes open, being able to clearly see spirit through using scrying methods, how to build our connection so it's nice and strong. If we drop spirit, how do we reconnect? What's the right way to do that? If we've got 2 spirits coming in once, like how do we pull them apart and sort that out? How are we overlooking or missing vital evidence? Like what are we doing where we're just leaving all this evidence on the table? And what is spirit law? There actually are rules. In our module 4, this is where we're looking at some limitations. So here we're covering what are limitations that we need to move past. Channeling spirit, so what that looks like, how you get to that space. Diving into now some more specific evidence, so cause of passing, using your body as a barometer to be able to convey these messages and convey the evidence, and bringing through spirit's personality so it's nice and authentic, not something that is stereotypical. Module 5, this is the soul, spirit, higher self, understanding all the layers there. It's building rapport with spirit, the nuances of memory. If you drop spirit, you lose your connection. How to connect fast. Why we touched on it here a little bit, but why we really love the no. Like we get excited by that. And how to be an expert in your space. Like, how do you get to that? How do you be the 1%er, the ones that stand out? So people want to work with you and tell their friends and family that you're the medium in your area to go to, that you're the expert. In module 6, we're looking at relationships here within spirit. So we're unpacking all that, how to maneuver through. We've got a spirit and no one knows who it is. So our unclaimed. Getting it correct every single time, finding the person that the client wants every single time. Not great Aunt Mary that no one cared about and can remember any details about her, not some ancestor way back or an uncle that even they didn't even know. No, the people that they want, their favorite dead people. We all have them. It's getting that person. The specific things, names and dates that people still want, even though we know as experts that they don't have the oomph that they used to have. And how spirit evolves after they transition, the growth that occurs. Understanding that is critical because you need to be able to share that with your clients. They are going to wonder. Then in module 7, we're seeking what's unexpected. So one of our biggest challenges in mediumship is how to phrase the information. So phrasing information and delivering it in a really personal way. Asking the right questions of spirit and connecting quickly. Not taking 5 minutes to connect. Blending with spirit, allowing them to embody you uh, so you can bring them alive. And then managing those unwelcome or spirits that people don't want to talk to, managing those scenarios. Working with really challenging topics because some people's lives have lots of challenges in it, and knowing how to maneuver through that without traumatizing your client, keeping it valid and authentic to spirit's connection, but also not triggering your client. In our 8th module, we're going through our reading secrets and hacks. So staying in the power, removing your blocks, mediumship surprises, the format, the professional format of a reading, best practices, ethics. I'm hot on ethics. It's a big problem in this industry. So ethical readings, unethical readings, how to manage topics so you don't go into an unethical space, managing your clients' expectations. And when I say removing blocks, these are that deep dive into your blocks, but also what the client will bring that will create blocks and how to maneuver through that. And when I'm talking about staying in the power, yes, there's a phrase in regards to old English techniques of staying in the power. This is different to that. I'm not talking about that. This is actually staying true in this connection and knowing what it feels like when it slips and how to maintain it. This course, based on everything that was in it, it is worth $3,965. It is in depth. There, as I said, there is no other course like this. This is a certificate course. We joke behind the doors in the offices. This is like spiritual TAFE. When I tell you it is a structured course, it is a structured course like you would get at any other college if you were learning some other subject, hairdressing, beautician, something of that kind of nature. It is a structured course. We also have a discount for those that wish to sign up as part of the webinar. And that discount code, you'll find that below. We also, because we know how important this is, we offer payment plans, and we obviously, when the discount is applied off the normal price of the course, it drops down. For those that sign up as part of the webinar, you use your discount code, we will also be giving you, because we know this is critical, we will give you our protection course. Now, our protection course, it is a self-study course. It has 21 different protection methods. It also has a lot of grounding techniques in there as well. And some of these methods are exceptionally advanced, not taught elsewhere. You will get all that. So you're going to get the protection course for free, and you're going to get the mediumship course. Both those things when you use the coupon code that is available. As I said, this can be studied in person or so sorry. So it can be just come down here. Sorry. So it can be studied so online by yourself, where you will access the information, work through that in your own pace. You'll submit the homework. We send you information every 2 weeks. So it's like live coaching, but you don't actually have to attend coaching calls. So that is our evergreen option on the website there. The only difference for that compared to coming to group coaching is that the way that we would answer your questions. So in group coaching, we would answer your questions in the middle of the coaching call. Here, you would be posting them into the Facebook group and they would be answered that way. You still get every 2 weeks you get a recording of additional work to work on. You get homework assigned. You have to submit it if you want recognition of study. So it's very similar to the group coaching call. So if anyone likes to just work at their own pace by themselves, then you would go into the evergreen coaching self-study one. If you want to be in the group coaching, you can either, when group coaching starts, and you've gone in the first option one, you can just upgrade for sure. But otherwise, you would just sign up for group coaching. So you do all the same online content as the evergreen option one. And then you just wait for group coaching to start. And then when group coaching starts, you join those coaching calls. They're every 2 weeks. And we come together over 4 months and we do our group coaching together in that space. That occurs once a year. So you would complete all the online content first. And then when group coaching starts, then you're going to join that. The other option is for those that are really wanting to level up their training. They want to be a professional medium. They are going to undertake mentoring. So online content is all the same for all 3 options, but the coaching is one-to-one with me, deep dive, working through how you work, finding your niche, tweaking it. It is pulling apart your technique to maximize it on an individual level is the mentoring. And I know that it's amazing the transformation that occurs in that mentoring space. So 3 ways to undertake the coaching is available for this. As I said, this course is unlike anything else based on the way it's structured, with all that online content, the embedded videos, the meditations, the exercise, the hacks. I've taken everything that I have learned from that, as I said, 2,500 readings. So I've tested and measured this, and I've shared it in this course to allow you to be the best reader that you can be. If this is feeling aligned for you, as I said, there's the various buttons to click through to sign up. If you wish to connect and ask some questions in regards to which option is the best for you, or you've got some kind of question about the course, book a discovery call so they can be answered with one of our support people. They'll be able to come on and answer all your questions around the course. Have an absolutely wonderful day. I hope you've enjoyed the education within this space. I've shared a lot with you. There's resources for you to download so you can take those resources and keep working on it. Join our Facebook group so you can connect into the community and start meeting like-minded people. And by all means, there's other resources on the website that you can access as well. We are here to guide you in your spiritual journey. Thank you for allowing me to be part of it as part of this webinar.